afternoon, everyone. My name is Jane Shodel. I'm one of the festival programmers, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this afternoon's world premiere screening of Mr. Pip, written and directed by Andrew Adamson. We would like to thank United Talent Agency for providing us with this film. And I'd also ask you now, please, to turn off your cell phones, your smartphones, cameras, and please do refrain from texting during the film because the backlight is crazy making for the people behind you. Thank you. Based on a much-loved novel, Mr. Pip is, among many things, the story of a friendship between a teacher and a young girl based on their mutual love of Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. Writer-director Andrew Adamson is no stranger to great stories. He has directed such films as Shrek, Shrek 2, for which he received an Oscar nomination, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. Mr. Pip is a significant departure from these wonderful animated and fantasy films, but this showcases clearly the vast range of Mr. Adamson's talent. We're very pleased to have the opportunity after the film to have a Q&A with our guests, but please join me in welcoming now the director of Mr. Pip, Andrew Adamson.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Jane and Cameron and all the people from Toronto International Film Festival for bringing us here, and all the volunteers for wrangling everyone into the theatres, rain or shine. Thank you very much. This has been a huge labour of love for me. My very intuitive wife gave me this book to read for my birthday as I was finishing Prince Caspian, and I read it on a flight between London and LA, and I got to sort of there's a very dramatic crux to the book, which I got to at about 2 in the morning. And couldn't put the book down, and landed in LA and immediately started pursuing the rights, and was lucky enough to talk to Lloyd and procure the rights and find some fellow travelers to go on this very bizarre journey with me. First of all, one of my producers, Robin Scholes, Leslie Erdang and the Olympus Group, James Dean, a number of very generous individuals that helped get this film made, the people from the Film Commission of New Zealand, and of course the wonderful Mr. Hugh Laurie, who joined us very early on. And championed us through this journey that was very figurative and literal. To get to where we were shooting, Hugh had to fly from LA to New Zealand, to Australia, to Papua New Guinea, to an island hopper that jumped through 3 islands to get to Booker, to then get on a boat that took him to a 4-wheel drive that had to cross 16 rivers, to get to another boat, to take him to the boat he was staying on location. So it has been quite a journey. I want to thank you for coming. You are the first audience to see this film. I won't say I'm not nervous, but I hope you enjoy it. And we'll have some other guests to come up here and talk to you afterwards. So please enjoy the film.
My name is Xzannjah. I'm a programming associate for TIFF. I'm really happy to see you all here, and also very happy and proud to welcome back on stage the director of this film, Andrew Adamson. Give it up for Andrew Adamson, please.
I'm not going to say much except thanks for coming and bring on our wonderful cast. So you can all come out, please. We've travelled very far. They're out here. Deciding on an order.
I'm gonna ask you to raise your hands as high as you can, to speak as loud as you can, to keep your questions as brief as you can, so we can have as many as we can. That's a lot of can, right? So I guess let's go, right? All right. If I can see you, you can also scream at me. Oh, okay. You up here. How long did it take to make the film?
Well, since starting on the screenplay about 4 years, with other things sort of happening in between, we started shooting July last year? Was it that? June last year? God, I don't know. We shot for about 6 or 7 weeks in Bougainville, about 6 or 7 weeks in New Zealand. And just since then we've been editing away.
Okay. Next question? Way up here. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Did you work on your voice?
Well, normally, it is something I have to work on very hard.
It's much closer to it. Yes. Yes. That is closer to this, as you can hear.
Up here. Yeah, talk. We're gonna move to another question this time. Okay. Fantastic. Yes. Yes, but this question was, can you sign my book? So I figured out maybe we can skip repeating this one. Yes.
Hi, I was just wondering, for Healesville, what was it like acting with your daughter?
What was it like to act with your daughter?
I guess I didn't have to deal with having to act with someone else's child, so it was, I'd say, natural. But there were other things that I prefer not for her to be there, you know. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed working with her.
So I got a question. How is it to work with your mother?
It was pretty much the same how she felt towards me, yeah.
Okay. Yes.
For me, it was a number of things. One, I grew up in Papua New Guinea, so when I read it, I recognized all the characters. As I learned more about the politics, I felt like it was really an important story to tell. But ultimately, I decided I wanted to tell this personal story about the power of story. I mean, you know, this is a vocation I've chosen, and to find a story that's about the power of the imagination and the redemptive power of story, it really resonated with me, and I thought it would resonate with other people.
Okay. Yes. It's a question for the cast. What did you find compelling in the story? Why did you choose to make that film?
I had read and loved, admired and loved the novel, and Shut up. The screenplay is, I thought, a brilliant adaptation, a very difficult adaptation. It's a very delicate thing, but I just thought it was completely enchanting. I was absolutely gripped by it. And it was also an amazing opportunity to go to a part of the world I would never have seen, but not just that, but to see it in a way I would never have seen it. To work with people is a very different experience to simply visit people. To actually collaborate with people, work with people is an incredible honor one is allowed into their lives in a way that you're not sometimes as a tourist, essentially. So that was a huge privilege as well. You're next.
Well, this story tells a really important part in the history of our province. So the story was really interesting, and it meant a lot to me to be playing this part and help tell the story of our people, the history of our island. Thank you.
Well, I didn't audition for the part with Dolores. I encouraged my daughter to audition for Matilda, but I went along to meet the casting director when she came after she was selected, and she decided to audition me. So I had no choice. But this movie tells, it's very close to the people of Bougainville. It, as you mentioned, tells a really important part of our history that was 20 years ago. We have a new generation of people coming up now, and most of them were born after what happened. So, in a way, they wouldn't know the story, and I'm glad in some ways this movie was able to make us remind or tell people that there's something like this that happened in this place long ago. So it's a story about Bougainville. It's close to the heart of a lot of people there, and that's why I decided to take part in the movie.
This is a story which is really, really close to my heart as well. I grew up in a small village in West Africa when I was younger, and so I have a very close rapport with the Indigenous story of all Indigenous people of the world, because I feel like it's quite synonymous across the spectrum of people growing and living in Indigenous cultures. And when I read the script, it really, really struck a chord with me, and yeah, I was incredibly honoured to be a part of such an ensemble with the people that are involved in this project. So yeah, it's just a blessing and an honour.
Yes.
Thank you. Pronounce your name.
Xzannjah.
Yes.
This is a question for the cast. The first time you actually saw this film on the screen, did you all start crying?
The question is
Which I'd like to point out was just now.
So did you cry the first time you saw the film?
This is kind of a real-time question. You're really asking me how am I feeling now? I'll tell you later. How did you feel watching this?
It was very moving, and if I had watched it alone, I probably would have cried. I'm quite shy to cry.
I think I shed all my tears already.
Yeah, I second what you said. I was incredibly nervous walking in here just to see the film for the first time, and sitting there kind of, yeah, trying to be aware of the fact that I'm going to have to come up on stage and talk about it after was kind of quite intimidating, to say the least.
Next question, please.
Up here?
Up here.
Up here?
Yeah, I see you now.
What happened to the mine? Is it still in operation, and if so, who owns it now?
There's a huge, so the question is what happened to the mine. There's a huge dispute going over who owns the mine now. The unique thing about this, if you consider it a civil war or a rebellion, is that the Bougainvilleans actually won. They beat out an army supported by the Australian government. They were fighting with weapons they found left over from World War II and making up weapons. It was a very remarkable situation, but over 4 years they ultimately won the war, and they now have an autonomous government and they're working towards independence. But the question over what happens with the mine, who owns the mine, all of that is in the courts at the moment. Another fairly unique thing is there's actually a civil rights action against Rio Tinto that's in the courts at the moment in the US, which is also the first time that's ever happened. So it's produced some pretty remarkable results.
Thank you. We have time for 2 more questions. Okay, you're first. What did you learn about yourself? Tell us.
Keep nice simple questions.
Lord above. 2 questions, no more than an hour each. That's a very, very big rock you're asking us to lift there, with no obvious handholds on it. I honestly don't think, I don't know if anyone else feels game for that one, but I don't think I could do justice to the experience of this whole film. I don't, in a few short words, I really don't. But if anybody else wants to have a go.
Well, gentlemen. So the last question. Now there was over there someone. Yeah.
I would love to ask you Laurie a question, but I'm a big fan, but I'm going to ask the director a question.
I can ask you a question about directing if you want.
I really love how you represented Matilda's imagination. I'm wondering if you perceived it that way as you were reading the book, or was it something that you kind of came back to and had to think about when you filmed it?
That's a good question. It's something I came to fairly early on when I was trying to figure out how to visualize the fact that this was Matilda's interpretation. You know, I think when you read a book and even when you watch a movie, you put yourself into it. I'd had an experience reading a manuscript not long before this in which I had been reading it with all the characters having English accents, and at some point it mentioned it was from Boston, and I suddenly realized all their accents changed. And it became very apparent to me that there was no good reason that Matilda would imagine this world without informing it from her own experience and with her own personal point of view. So it just seemed very apparent. And within the book, Mr. Pip Lloyd also refers to the idea that, you know, Mr. Watts has his version of Great Expectations and Matilda has her version, and all the people listening have their own versions. And I think that's just true when we read fiction.
Thank you. Okay, so I think that's it. I'd like to thank you all for being here.